Hello everybody, Jake here. This is my response video to the very popular Read What You Own book challenge. I don't like it. If anyone doesn't know what the Read What You Own book challenge is, essentially you select a number, be it 25, 100, more, less, whatever, and it could be any number you want, and you have to read that quantity of books from your collection before you can buy any new books. I believe this challenge was set by Ollie over at Criminali, which I love. I love his channel. I'm a subscriber. I love all his stuff. Nothing but love here, Ollie.
I'm coming for you, Ollie.
To be clear, I don't have any qualms or take any issue with anybody doing this challenge, whether in the past or currently. I've watched many of your guys' videos, and I find myself mostly agreeing with the rationale. If you keep buying books, you probably should be reading said books. After all, aren't books supposed to be read? I mean, BookTube and BookTok can be negatively consumeristic, I think, with a focus on acquiring books as opposed to enjoying books. I think most people on BookTube or BookTok do end up buying more books than we read. In fact, a lot more. Now, there are probably exceptions, but I don't know any of them. We all have that TBR list that seems to grow, and it has those books on it. Those books that when we bought them, that we were so excited to read them, yet we find them getting deeper and deeper and further down on the list, sitting there, sadly, untouched, unloved, unread. I average 2 to 3 books a week, but I'll have 100+ book hauls back to back. So what's not to like about this, Jake? This challenge makes sense. Thanks for asking. Let me tell you. Don't tell me what to do. Hey Jake, just because a challenge is set doesn't mean you have to or even should do it. Nobody's telling you to do anything, you idiot. Firstly, that's rude. Second, I know that. This first point is just pride and immaturity on my part. Clearly, I'm the minority on BookTube, but I don't like challenges. I don't like tags. Are you ever going to post your mid-year freakout video? No. I review 80-year-old science fiction. Nobody's freaking out about that. And you know what? I've seen a lot of your guys' videos. None of you are freaking out. Do you guys know what freaking out actually means? Nobody's freaking out! What are you reading for Garb August? Have you seen my channel? Every month is Garb August. You know, while we're at it, should I change my profile picture? Should we do the ice bucket challenge again? Did we end up curing whatever the ALT, BL, MLB? Why were we doing? I mean, we all got cold and wet, didn't we? Did we cure the disease by getting cold and wet? You know what, everybody? Keep your tags, keep your challenges. I'm stuck in 2012, still looking for Coney. There was my mid-year freakout. I read for pleasure, to make review videos for my channel, and hopefully to discover a lost literary classic or a neglected author. But I also collect antique and vintage books because they are valuable and beautiful. Now, if you view collecting as a vice, fine, fair enough, I suppose. I mean, there are worse things to collect. I still could be collecting Pogs. And listen, if you own a single Funko Pop, then you need to shut the Now, if you have a book buying problem, you overspend, it affects your finances negatively, and overall becomes a detriment to your life, then I would say, yeah, definitely partake in the Read What You Own book challenge. Purchasing to self-medicate can lead to an addictive lifestyle, and if you're not careful, it actually can become a big problem. In fact, here are some books on mental health and addiction. But I would argue that if you're disciplined, buying books, even large quantities of books, with no intention of reading them, can still be a net positive. For instance, look at this little guy right here. I recently acquired from a little used bookstore for $3. It is little known Civilizations of the Red Sea by Guy Annaquin, leatherbound, 1979. We got some cool pictures in here. It's super cool, right? And as interesting as this is, I don't know if I'll ever read it. But a local used bookstore received some desperately needed patronage. To me, books have a timeless appeal. And now I have something beautiful on my shelf, something beautiful in my house, something beautiful in my life, and I believe that if we surround ourselves with beautiful things, things that are timeless, things that inspire, that it actually does enrich our life. Not all value is tangible, and I would say the value I receive from this little book far outweighs the $3 price tag, even if I never read it. According to YouGov, nearly half of all Americans didn't read a single book last year. Bear in mind, this is post-pandemic, where we saw a sustained 35% increase in readership. This is as good as it's been in decades. Now, if you read 8 books you're reading more than 2/3 of all Americans. Now you can hear this and say, oh, poor Americans, they neglect reading to their own personal detriment, which is true enough. Do these statistics truly harm our authors? Publishers receive thousands of manuscripts annually, and the chances of me in 2024 getting my book accepted and published are between 1 and 2%. That tiny percentage getting published in the US ends up being around 600,000 to 1 million a year. So this market, which is extremely difficult to get into, is also oversaturated. And as a result, even if my book gets accepted and published, it's still fighting for shelf space like no other industry. Getting a book in print is no guarantee of selling a single copy, and many debut authors will pocket their $5,000 advance, and at 5% royalties, never come close to making another dime. All that to say, authors have a hard enough time getting a book sold. I mean, maybe not Sarah Moss or Brandon Sanderson or Stephen King. They're probably good. They're not too worried about it. Especially Sarah J. Maas, because you ladies really like your porn. I mean fantasy novels. No, really, I love fairies and dragons all of a sudden. Yeah, everybody reads in the laundry room, right? Now, I don't know who needs to hear this, but nobody's fooled. But the fact of the matter is, most authors are struggling, and very few of them can actually make a career out of writing. If everyone who reads books suddenly stops buying them, sometimes for a year at a time, those already tiny margins for profitability will shrink up. If every booktuber who collectively influences and informs thousands of potential readers on their book buying decisions suddenly stops buying books, no hyperbole, that could really be devastating. Authors need us to buy books. Your local used bookstore, you could have franchised a Chick-fil-A and raked in some cash. But instead they opened a used bookstore because they love literature. They are run exclusively by people who are passionate about books, and these businesses need us to survive. So I suggest a new challenge. Buy books, and then read them. Might I submit to you that in light of extreme and drastic challenge, perhaps moderation may be a helpful option for everyone. Reader, booktuber, bookstore owner, and author. But listen, if you still want to do the Read What You Own challenge, I mean, go for it. Truly, it's all love here. It's great. No judgment. Go for it. I mean that, truly. Look at my face. I mean that. But when you're done, you better post the book haul to end all book hauls. And I'm talking mortgage payment size. And despite everything I've said here today, I do have a request to my fellow booktubers. For the next challenge or the next hashtag, go ahead and tag me in that video. So that way I know exactly what I'm not going to do.